Alright, in this set of notes we're going to be talking about basic geometric objects. Our essential question is, how do I name and label points, lines, planes, segments, rays, and angles in a geometric diagram. Oh, question mark. So for each of our items, we're going to look at its definition slash description. We're going to look at how to name, and we're going to look at an example. So, I'm going to draw a line down through the middle of our okay. So our first item is a point. A point is a single location in space. It's more of a description than a definition. How to name? Using capital letters. For example, we had a point here, we'd call that point A. Point over here, we could call that point B. Point up here, call that point C. Pretty straightforward. Alright. Next, we're going to look at a line. Again, this is going to be more of a description. It is a line that extends forever in both directions. Notice inside the definition for the word line, we've used the word line. This is just sort of one of these necessary evils. And again, this is more of a description than a definition. To name it, we use the names of any two points on the line. Covered by a double-headed arrow, or a single lower case letter. So for example, this line here has 3 points on it. A, B, C. I should stop for a second and remind you that it has 3 points, yes, three labeled points. Of course, there are an infinite number of points on the line. Every place in between these points is another point. But there's just 3 that are labeled. We could call this line A, B, and you put that double-headed arrow over to tell you it's a line. We could call it line BC. We could reverse the order and call it line CB. Or we could call it CA. Lots of examples. I could also put a lowercase, say, m here and call this or line M. Just like that. And usually when you use that lowercase letter, you'd probably call it line M, just to make sure you're clear about that. Alright, next up. Move down a little bit. Go look at a segment. A segment is 2 endpoints and all the points between. And between is actually one of your vocab words. Look up what that means exactly. Alright, and you name it. How do you name? Use the names of the endpoints in any order covered by a short, well, dash. Right, so for example, MN has endpoints M and N and all the points in between, and we would call it MN, like that, or NM, like that, backwards. Alright, next let's look at, so we've got description / definition. Okay, put my line down. Let's put the black line second. Okay, all the way down. We have how to name. Okay. And then we have example. Alright, so next up we have array. Array is made up of, it's an endpoint, and every point on a line on one side of the endpoint. Right. It's probably a kind of or not the best definition, but close enough. All right. How to name it? We name it using the endpoint name followed by the name of any point on the ray. Okay. Covered by a single headed arrow. So for example, if I had A, B, and C, I could call this ray AB, or ray AC, for example, not BA. You cannot reverse the order on a ray. Okay? Not that. Okay? Also, you sometimes may see in a diagram, okay, D, E, F, you might talk about ray EF. Okay. Starts at E, or maybe ray FD, starting at F and going to D and on. Right. So just because the ray doesn't have a, the diagram doesn't end right at A, right? Just because it doesn't end right at F or end right at E doesn't mean that there isn't a ray there. You could talk about that ray. All right. Let's take a look here. Next up. Pause for a second. All right, next here we have, let's put our line through here. We have angles. Okay. An angle is made up of two rays that share a common endpoint. Okay. We can name them several different ways. One, we could name them with the name of the vertex, shared endpoint. So for example, this could be angle A. We would write it like this, with a little angle symbol. You could name it using one point from each ray with the vertex in the middle. So this, for example, could be, we could call this angle MNP or angle PNM. Order doesn't matter, as long as the vertex is in the middle. Or using a lower case letter or number placed inside the angle. So for example, I could call this angle 1 or maybe angle A or angle B. All right.
Good and tight.
All right, last we have definition, how to name example. We have plane. Okay. A plane is a flat surface that extends forever in all directions. You name a plane using any 3 points on the plane. For example, if I sketch a plane here, let's say this plane has, I don't know, 4 points. Call them A, B, C, and D. We could call this plane ABC, or plane CBD, or ... any 3 points on the plane. All right, looks good.